Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pima Voices. Today, I am sitting down with Klaire Pirtle, who is a lifelong educator and philanthropist. And today, we are going to be talking about how education is keeping Tucson thriving. How are you today, Klaire?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming in to the studio today and sitting down with me. Today is, well, not exactly today, but you're the first guest of March. And so I really wanted to have you here because you have such an amazing history that's rooted within Tucson, with you and your family. And I think that's really important, especially for like Women's History Month this month. So I really wanted to highlight really powerful women leaders in our community, and we thought of you, and I was like, she is perfect to be my first one of the month. So I really appreciate you taking the drive down and sitting down with me today.
Well, thank you. I'm overwhelmed. You know, as a woman, and as you know, we kind of do what we do. Yes. And for you to say those words, I'm thinking, wait, who's she talking about, you know?
You, of course. So for those who don't know who Klaire Pirtle is, why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory about you, that's something that you can share with the listeners today?
Well, I would like to start with my mother, if that's
possible. Yes,
of
course.
We were born, my brother and I were born in Brooklyn. She was a New York person, and we pioneered to Tucson in 1948. And she herself wanted to go to college, but her father wouldn't let her because of that age and time. She was forced to go and did fine in secretarial school. And my father, which I didn't know till way later, maybe in my 40s, he had not finished high school. Oh. He had dropped out to help with his family and then, of course, joined the war. So looking back, and this has given me a lot to think about, that they, and my mother especially, became so interested in education because that's kind of what she wanted for herself. And so when we moved here, even before kindergarten was in public school, she enrolled us in kindergarten, and then we began school. I did. My brother was 3 years younger at Blenman.
Okay.
And from then on, she remained very, very active in school, which I guess I must have seen and known and inherited because education became so important in our family.
Yeah, and we'll get into talking about it, but you have a great history in like I said, a leadership role, I feel like, and you have a very moving history within education, and it did start with your mom, and she has a very special connection to Pima Community College. And do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
I do. So we watched Catalina High School being built. We lived across the street, and we lived literally now down the street from the U of A. And when I graduated, I knew, because there was no choice, the U of A, a child going to a college, I would go to the U of A, and which I did. 3 years after, when my brother graduated, he wasn't quite ready. I was 61, so he would have been 64. He wasn't quite ready to go far from home, and he, as it turned out, was quite a gifted athlete. And he had been offered a scholarship at Eastern Arizona Community College.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it got my mother's thinking, how come we don't have a community college in Tucson? And so, to make a long story much shorter, she actually was invited to be on the founding board of Pima Community College under the education committee. And what overwhelmed me today when I was waiting to come talk with you was I was standing outside in the foyer with my husband, and he said to me, "Your mother started all of this." Yeah. And I just was literally overwhelmed. It's true. It was a nothing. And now 80,000 students. I don't know.
Yeah, probably a little more.
Yeah, and I don't know how many campuses, and then, of course, it will segue into some of the things that I did then in education, but it was like it was a goal, but nobody knew it. You know, it was a sense that this is what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just thinking back of, like you said, being here and not realizing, like, how much the college has blossomed and transformed.
Exactly.
I'm sure your mom never expected it to be what it is today, but it is such an integral part of the community. And I think we should all be thankful that she was part of that board and she helped get this going because, like I said, it is such an integral part of the community. It helps keep our community thriving. It gives so many options to the community. Like you said, people who maybe aren't ready to go to the university right away or be away from home. And, you know, a lot of times this can be, as people say, like a stepping stone for someone. This could be a starting point. This could be the ending point. And it has really transformed many people's lives. And your mom's a little part of every single person's life.
Yes, and so that leads me into how then we became involved as our family. My husband, we both when we came back to Tucson, taught at Sunnyside School District, and he taught photography. And so at Pima, he taught some classes in photography. I actually took one. And since then, we have a big family. We have grandchildren who've gone to Pima. We have a granddaughter, Lily, who graduated Phi Theta Kappa with that scholarship and went on to the U of A in pre-med, has graduated and getting ready to be married.
Oh, wow.
And we have a grandson who has done exactly what you said. He's taken classes in Pima. He's also now taking university classes, majoring in neuroscience, but he's still taking Pima classes because Pima classes fit into his schedule. And they're excellent. You know, I was able to pop into one of my granddaughter's classes one day, and I was astounded. I wanted to be a student again. I wanted to come back and hear what they were learning, and so it's very far-reaching, and it continues in our family. And I'm guessing as the next children come along, you know, we always talk Pima. You need to think about Pima. It's so fabulous. Anyway.
I love how it's also like just an integral part of your family now. Everyone knows. And like you said, you know, when you popped into the class, you kind of want to go back to school. I have that feeling all the time when I'm like exploring campuses.
I bet you do.
And I'm like, this seems really fun. And I've always said, like, not that education isn't fun or exciting, but there's just so much new, innovating, exciting things happening at the college. I'm like, that sounds fun. I think I can enjoy that class.
Yes, and I bet they'd even allow an 81-year-old like me to come back.
Oh, of course they would.
All right, I'm signing up.
Anyone can come at any age. And you mentioned, you know, before you came back to Tucson, you were in Nevada for a little bit.
Yes.
And you have a very, I don't know what the title, I guess it's a title, where you were the first female principal, and was it in the district that you were in?
Yes, in the area, in the district. And that's a fun story. So I will tell you, my husband was not going to continue at Sunnyside. I was finishing my PhD. We had 3 little kids at home. No, 4 at that point, 4. And so it was kind of up to me, maybe, to look for a job. So in those days, before all the technology, on Saturdays, you could call the U of A, and they had a program called Dial a Job. Oh. And so every Saturday, I would call and see what kind of jobs around the area were available, because I thought I would be teach at the university level, because my background was in education and all my studies and anthropology and education. But anyway, so one Saturday I call, and there is a job opening in Gardnerville, Minden, Nevada for a principal. Now, that is right by the California border. It's where Nevada.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's Douglas County School District, and they were looking for a principal. And so my husband said, why don't you apply for it? And I'll make it a short story because I could go on and on. So I did, and I was one of 80. They'd never had a woman principal or an administrator. The superintendent came to our home, visited my husband in Sunnyside, visited my professors, came to our home, met the family to make sure that this was something that I wanted and they wanted. And, okay, we moved, and I became the first principal in Douglas County School District. And all the little kids came. My husband, well, the children were in my school, 6th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade, and then my husband was home with the baby Amber at 2. So he became the original house husband.
Oh.
And I started my career
Yeah.
as principal of Gardnerville Elementary School, which 4 years later, 5 years later, we received a national award for elementary school.
Wow. Congratulations.
And
That's amazing.
I got to go to Washington, D.C. with a parent and a teacher and accept the award. And we got the award. We were designated a community school because we involved the community in all of our activities.
You have such amazing, you just have like amazing history behind you and like with you and your family, and you have this like such deep rooted commitment to education and community service, and you talk about it with such a smile on your face.
I do. I loved it. And again, I said to my husband outside, I said, we were so lucky that we chose to be in education. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed, even with what you're doing, what's happening now.
Yeah, and I've said it before with other people. Education has always been like my safe and happy place. I loved going to school. I had those teachers that I can recall that really made an impact on me and helped push me forward and everything. And I've never been so thankful for those experiences because I think those are really important to have, and not everyone gets to have those experiences in those moments in education. And I feel like you're one of those leaders in education who definitely is willing to, put all your effort into making sure students thrive and things move forward and things progress. And thank you for that. And I'm sure everyone else is so appreciative of having those memories and moments with you because education is just such a vital part of someone's life. And like I said, not everyone gets to experience education. And so, although I think everyone should, and it's not always accessible, but, coming to Pima, it can be accessible. There are options, and hearing you talk about it just like brings back memories for me. And so it makes me like happy. Yeah. I'm over here thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes me think of this and that person and what's that, what is that professor up to? How's that teacher doing? And, it just like brought back little happy moments for me.
Oh, I'm pleased. Well, in preparing for this, I talked to some of my grandchildren. We have 13. And I would talk to one. I said, I'm doing this. And they call me Buggy. What do you think? What should I say? And one of them said, well, everybody deserves a good education. Every child, everybody needs to have a good education. And I said, you're right. It was like from the mouths of babes. What else do you say about education? But everybody should have it.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Like I said, not everyone gets to experience that, and I'm really thankful that I've had the opportunity to continue my education in multiple avenues. But
I want to ask you what did you study?
So actually, I came to Pima after high school. I was doing criminal justice first, and then I realized I didn't want to do that. And I was like, this is not for me. And so I switched to fashion. And so I did fashion design. I got my certificate here. And that program is near and dear to my heart. And I'm still working with that program today, doing things. And then I did my Associates of Arts. And now I'm my last semester at the U of A.
Good.
So in their fashion program with studio art minor. Thank you.
That is so fabulous. Well, when we came back to Tucson after 21 years as being a principal, I think that my husband and I volunteered at Catalina High School, my old high school, with refugee students, and we had enjoyed it so much. And it was the end of the year, and they were going to graduate, and many had received scholarships from Pima. So we're sitting there, we're watching the students and being so pleased for them. And I lean over to Cheryl House at the time, who was in charge of the scholarship program. And I said, I think my mother may have been on the board. And she said, She says, I'll let you know. So 3 days later, she called. So all this time, my mother was doing this. Well, I was busy being a mother, and not quite then. But I was getting married, I was teaching, and I was so busy thinking about me that I didn't realize all that she was doing. And so Cheryl, went through all the archives, and there she was.
Wow.
And I started to research it, of course. And as we researched and talked and thought about it, daughter Jill was living in Tucson, too. And she said, well, we should start a scholarship in Grandma's name. And I said, gosh, we should do that. Yes, I had not have thought of that. So we began to talk about it. I called my brother, who lived in Utah, and he talked to his kids, and I talked to our kids, and we all said, that would be great for Grandma. So, and this was, of course, after she had passed, and so we did it. Cheryl helped, and one of my pitches would be to anyone thinking of beginning a scholarship or wanting to contribute, it's easy. All you have to do is make one phone call, and everything's done for you.
We try to make it as easy as possible.
Yes, but what we did was we wrote a letter to all of our friends and family. My brother did to his, and I did to mine, and said, we're doing this for our mother. We want you to know about it. If you would like to contribute, we'd love that. And they did.
Oh, that's so special.
And then we continue, another daughter, and we have sustaining, I call it memberships, but sustaining giving to the scholarship because it's sustaining. It's a sustaining.
Yeah, it's got the funds in there today. It's a scholarship that students can apply for on Scholarship Universe. And it's in your mom's name, the Muriel B. Kaufman Scholarship.
Yes.
And so, it's still reaching students to this day. And that's something that I think is part of your legacy for the community college as well. Like, even though it's in your mom's name, you're continuing that with her legacy. You're adding your part to it. And that's beautiful. It really is. It's wonderful and beautiful that you are able to continue what she started in a slightly different way, but in an amazing way that can continue to help students who are coming here to pursue their educational career. So that's absolutely wonderful. And the fact that you have supporters all throughout your family.
Yes, everyone thinks it's so cool. And occasionally, most often I get notices of who are receiving the scholarships, and I love that.
Yes.
We have a nurse, we have a fashion designer, we have people who also do community work and see the importance of being out in the community and involving others. But anyway, that's part of the fun of it, too. We don't have any choice in who gets it, but we get to see the recipients. And
And I'm sure that's
Fabulous.
just as touching to see, like, who
Fabulous.
it goes to, see what their career choice is wanting to be, and you have a little part of your mom sprinkled in there.
Oh, I do.
To every single person is still going.
I do.
Yeah, and that's a truly wonderful message. And I was going to say, like, what advice do you have for people who want to consider philanthropy? But you kind of already did. Like,
I did.
Give a phone call. It's very easy.
Do
Just do it.
and keep doing it, because we do. When something comes along, if it's in the community, we're working with a different type of a food bank now, my husband and I, and there's always involvement that people can get in their churches and, anywhere that we can help and do. And that was my mother. She gave so much blood. Okay, this is aside for the Red Cross that she got an award for it. She had worked for the Red Cross or volunteered during the war, but she just was such a giving person. It's like you meet her hospitality, her love. What can I do for you? How are you? Are you hungry? What do you want to eat?
I love that, and I love how I can see that in you and your family, with you and your husband, and your children, your grandchildren, and it truly is special. And I'm sure your mom would be so proud of everything that you guys have done and contributed to the community. Hearing you talk about everything, I just want to like cry a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, hold it in. But it's just so heartwarming and so touching. And you don't always see, I feel like sometimes you don't always see such selflessness in people, and you have it. And it's just like, I just want to give you a hug.
Thank you. We will afterwards. Yes. We will. But I do want to say, and I know it's not a political time to discuss it, but I'm concerned about education now. I'm concerned. And I do have a quote that my mother gave all those years ago that I don't know when we're going to wind up, but maybe I just should read it now, that it's the same. It's the same. She said, I think my prime interest is good education with equal opportunities for all children and youth. I feel the obligation to my community to contribute what I can so that our high standards of education are not only maintained, but continually improved. That's my sermon.
It's a wonderful sermon because I hope for the future of education that's something that's attainable. And I would love to see education be accessible to everyone. Everyone has the opportunity to get an education. And like I said, like Pima is sort of in that range of like, okay, well, we have multiple campuses that people can reach by bus, by vehicle. And, there's different career paths. You don't have to get a certificate. You don't have to get an AA. There's shorter programs. So there's very many, many options that people can explore and do. And so, the dream is to have everyone be able to go to school. So I hope that's something that's in the future. And I'm sure that's your hopes for the future of education. But was there anything else that you wanted to add today before we wind up our discussion?
Yes, I do. I think just what you said is so true. And what I think is, and this is a cliche, but education is the golden ticket.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's Willy Wonka's golden ticket.
And it's right here. It's right here in this most beautiful campus and school. Mm-hmm. Most beautiful, most accessible, most fabulous. I'm renewed.
I mean, like I said, Pima holds a special place in my heart. I know it holds a special place in many people's hearts. Mm-hmm. And, it's truly wonderful that you have this history with your mom. That's part of Pima's legacy, that you're able to talk about it today. And we're able to explore that and share that story with others. And it was really heartwarming and heartfelt. And like I said, I'm really thankful that there's people like you in our community who can continue that mission and that selflessness of giving and, just wanting to see students succeed in education. And that's super important. Not everyone goes into teaching for the right reasons, but you have such a powerful message and just like spirit about you. And I hope that continues on with your children and grandchildren.
Oh, I do, yes. And I do need to say we do have children in education now. Almost all of them are involved in education somewhere. But I do want to put a plug in for our son James, who teaches in Vietnam now.
Oh my goodness!
English,
Wow, yeah.
Teaches English.
You have such a special family.
There we are. Yes.
Well, I am thankful that your mom did what she did. I'm thankful for what you do. Your work with the foundation and having that sustaining scholarship funds to give to students here at the college. And just, like I said, your commitment to the community and just education in general. I love it. And thank you.
And I thank you for doing this. I mean, you really got me going down memory lane. And thank you for the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again for your time today. I'm sure we could go on and on forever about
probably
so much discussion with history and everything else. And maybe we can have a chat another time. But thank you again for coming by and sharing this. It was really special. So I hope it's
a little fun. Thank you. Thank you, Savannah.
And thank you everyone for tuning in today. And I will see you all next week for a new episode. So until then, thank you.